After being betrayed by my family and thrown out on the street, I was bought back by the mob boss's mother to be her daughter-in-law. But he refused and humiliated me. When she expected me to win him over, instead, I angrily lunged at him. "You jerk. What makes you think I'd want your help? I will never marry you, even if you were the last man on earth." I grabbed his hand tightly, that I didn't notice the security pointing guns at me. One of them barked, "Get down before we make you regret this." But Lorenzo lifted a finger, and silence settled over the room. Lorenzo De Luca had never been grabbed by a woman, nor had one ever looked at him with disdain, let alone spoken to him with such disrespect. He took a step toward me, eyes cold and unimpressed. Despite my anger, my fragile fingers wrapped around his muscular arm. He slowly pried my hands away, stepping closer, feeling my warmth and defiance. I could smell his sandalwood cologne as he whispered, "Don't touch me again. If I find you here when I return, you'll regret it." After that chilling warning, Lorenzo turned to his mother and left, his hands in his pockets. Once the security cleared out, I slid to the floor, my long hair spilling around me as tears ran down my cheeks. I was utterly alone, broken by the people I had trusted. I had no family, no home, nothing. Grace's cold voice broke the silence. "Interesting. My son doesn't get worked up easily. This will work. You'll be married by the end of the week." I looked up, shocked. "What? You can't be serious. Didn't you hear him? He doesn't want to marry me." Grace remained unbothered, perched on the bed, leaving to where exactly? Your family home? A hotel? You have nothing left, Ruby. Her words stabbed me deep. I felt helpless and shaken, wiping my tears. I muttered, "I'll figure something out. Thanks for your hospitality." But Grace wasn't done. "I hate to break it to you, but your stepmom made sure your betrayal is known to every business mogul. No one will take in a traitor. If you leave, you'll be in danger." A chill ran through me, but I forced myself to be strong. I turned to face her, shaking with fear. "And yet you took me in?" Grace stepped forward, cutting me off. "No, you were going to be sold to the Russo family, but I paid double for you. There's no hospitality, Ruby. I only brought you here to marry my son." I was reeling from the shock of everything. A housekeeper handed me a paper, documents confirming that I now belonged to the De Luca family. I felt like an object, a piece of property, passed between them. I managed to speak, barely. "Even if I agree he won't want to marry me, can't you find someone else?" Grace cupped my face with a smile, but it was chilling. "No, Ruby. It has to be you. If anyone else had grabbed my son like that, they'd have been dealt with harshly by now." The next few hours felt like a nightmare. I threw up into the toilet and splashed water on my face. My reflection in the mirror showed the damage, sunken eyes, disheveled hair, and cheeks still stinging from my father's slaps. I had nothing, no one. Grace's voice echoed in my head. "Only as Enzo's wife will you have protection and respect. Think about it." With no other choice, I called her. "I've made a decision." By the time she arrived with a team of housekeepers, it was early morning. I didn't have the strength to protest. They pulled out a short dress for me, styled my hair, applied smoky makeup, and dressed me in stilettos. I looked like an object, like something to be sold. "I don't like this," I muttered, staring at myself in the mirror, hating everything about the image. But Grace placed a hand on my shoulder, her voice cold. "It's not about what you want. If you don't convince Enzo to marry you, you'll be in even more danger." I froze. "Yeah, I'll be in danger." Grace pressed down on my shoulder until it ached. "Smart girl. Now, let's practice. Say mom after you convince him." When we arrived at the De Luca mansion, my nerves were through the roof. The massive building loomed before me, and I couldn't stop my hands from shaking. Inside, I was guided to the private elevator with strict instructions to do everything to convince Lorenzo. I stepped into the penthouse, and the sight that greeted me was the last thing I expected. Lorenzo, in a robe, was talking with a woman in his bed. The woman screamed when she saw me, and I froze. Lorenzo grabbed a gun, pointing it at me. "Didn't I warn you? Give me one reason not to make you regret this." I gathered every ounce of courage I had left. "Because I'm going to be your wife." His cold laughter echoed through the room. "You'll be my wife, indeed?" A few minutes later, Lorenzo came out in a robe, his body still radiating with power. "Did you dress like this to try to convince me, princess?" His tone was mocking, his words harsh. "Perhaps I thought it would persuade you." I shot back, keeping my composure. Lorenzo crossed his legs, leaning back. "You're not my type, for marriage, or for anything else. Leave." I felt hope slip away, my heart sinking. But then, I swallowed my pride and dashed toward him, grabbing his arms. "Please, I need the protection of your name. No one will take me in. I've been branded a traitor." For the second time within a few hours, I was holding on to him, but this time, for an entirely different reason. His security waited for his command to have the audacious girl dragged out of his building, but he lifted his aristocratic head, and asked me instead, "What makes you think I would want to take you in, then?" I swallowed hard, forced myself to meet his gaze. I don't know, but I have nothing, please." His grip on my chin tightened, forcing me to look into his silver eyes. His voice was cold, but there was something in it that made my heart skip a beat. "Go home and wait for me." I barely understood what happened after that. Grace told me to get ready for a wedding. I was dressed in a bridal gown, made up, and given a bouquet. Everything felt unreal. The ceremony was a blur. I walked down the aisle, but no one seemed to care. No one looked at me. Lorenzo was as cold as ever, his eyes empty as he exchanged vows with me. The kiss was brief, cold, and left me feeling empty. At the reception, I couldn't find Lorenzo. I went to Grace, demanding to know where he was. She looked me over with a critical eye and said, "He's with his mistress, Rosalia." A sharp pain pierced my chest.